Hi, Job here, Poet Laureate for the City of Davis, with a series of recorded poetry readings to hold us over during the pandemic till we can start having some live ones again. This week I'm reading the poems of Spanish poet Miguel Hernandez, who was born in 1910 and died in 1942, a very active participant for the Republic in the Spanish Civil War. In fact, he died in prison. His first book came out and was largely ignored. It was called Perito en Lunas, Expert in Moons, in 1933, when he was in his early 20s. And it was a very important book, but it wasn't well noticed at the time, although he sent it to just about every major poet writing in Spanish at that time, including Pablo Neruda and Garcia Lorca. He fell in love with a woman whose father fought for the fascists, and he was for the Republic. He was against the fascists. So there were some problems there. And he ended up being arrested and sent to prison like 3 or 4 times. And he died in prison of tuberculosis in 1942 when he was only in his early 30s. This first poem is called You Threw Me a Lemon. You threw me a lemon, oh, it was sour, with a warm hand that was so pure it never damaged the lemon's architecture. I tasted the sourness anyway. With that yellow blood, my blood moved from a gentle laziness into an anguished fever, for my blood felt a bite from a long and firm tip of a breast. Yet glancing at you and seeing the smile with that lemon-colored event drew from you, so far from my dishonorable fierceness, my blood went to sleep in my shirt, and the soft and golden breast turned to a baffling pain with a long beak. For pulling the feathers from icy archangels. Maybe I should add this. Hernandez's family was sheep herders. They were very poor, and he had to leave school very early, still a boy, to help with the sheep herding. But the local Catholic Church took pity on him and gave him some books to read and some lessons on the side. So he ended up reading San Juan de la Cruz, St. John of the Cross, and Cervantes and others, and got his own education that way. For pulling the feathers from the icy archangels. For pulling the feathers from icy archangels, the lily-like snowstorm of slender teeth is condemned to the weeping of the fountains and the desolation of the running springs. That's a beautiful musical long line, isn't it? I'm going to read that again. For pulling the feathers from the icy archangels, the lily-like snowstorm of slender teeth is condemned to the weeping of the fountains and the desolation of the running springs. For diffusing its soul into metals, for abandoning the sunrises to the iron, the stormy blacksmiths drag away the fire to the anguish of the brutal anvils. I see myself recklessly rushing toward the painful retribution of the thorn, to the fatal discouragement of the rose, and the assiduous power of death, with so much ruin, not for any sin or any other thing except loving you, only for loving you. Your heart, it is a frozen orange. Your heart, it is a frozen orange. Inside it has juniper oil but no light, and a porous look like gold, and outside promising risk to the man who looks. My heart is a fiery pomegranate. Its scarlets clustered, and its wax opened, which could offer you its tender beads with the stubbornness of a man in love. Yes, what an experience of sorrow it is to go to your heart and find a frost made of primitive and terrifying snow. A thirsty handkerchief flies through the air along the shores of my weeping, hoping that he can drink in my tears. Some love poems to get us started, clearly. Eventually these will switch into poems having to do with the revolution. I have plenty of heart. Today I am, I don't know how. Today all I'm ready for is suffering. Today I have no friends. Today the only thing I have is the desire to rip my heart out by the roots and stick it underneath a shoe. Today that dry thorn is growing strong again. Today is the day of crying in my kingdom. Depression unloads today in my chest. A depressed heavy metal. Today my destiny is too much for me, and I'm looking for death down my hands, looking at knives with affection. And I can remember that friendly axe. And all I can think about is the tallest steeples and making a fatal leap serenely. If it weren't for, I don't know what, my heart would write a suicide note. A note I carry hidden there. I would make an inkwell out of my heart, a fountain of syllables of goodbyes and gifts. And you stay here, I'd tell the world. I was born under a rotten star. My grief is that I have only one grief, and it weighs more than all of the joys put together. A love affair has left me with my arms hanging down, and I can't lift them anymore. Don't you see how disillusioned my mouth is? How unsatisfied my eyes are? The more I look inward, the more I mourn. Cut off this pain, who has the scissors? Yesterday, tomorrow, today, suffering for everything, my heart is a sad goldfish bowl, a pen of dying nightingales. I have plenty of heart. Today, to rip out my heart, I who have a bigger heart than anyone, and having that, I am the bitterest also. I don't know why. I don't know how or why I let my life keep going on every day. All right. Sitting on top of corpses. The title alone fits a pandemic. Sitting on top of corpses, fallen silent over the last 2 months, I kiss empty shoes and take hold wildly of the heart's hand and the soul that keeps it going. I want my voice to climb mountains, descend to earth, and give out thunder. This is what my throat wants from now on, and always has. Come near to my loud voice. Nation of the same mother, tree whose roots hold me as in a jar. I'm here to love you. I'm here to fight for you with my mouth and blood, as with 2 faithful rifles. If I came out of the dirt and was born from a womb with no luck and no money, it was only that I might become this nightingale of sadness, an echo chamber for disaster, that I could sing and keep singing for the men who ought to hear it, everything that has to do with suffering, with poverty, with earth. Yesterday people woke naked, with nothing to pull on, hungry, with nothing to eat, and now another day has come, dangerous as expected, bloody as expected. In their hands, rifles long to become lions to finish off the animals who have been so often animals. Although you have so few weapons, nation with 1,000,000 strengths, don't let your bones collapse. For as long as you have fist, fingernails, spit, courage, insides, guts, balls, and teeth, attack those who would wound us. Stiff as the stiff wind, gentle as the gentle air. Kill those who kill. Loathe those who loathe. The peace inside you and the womb of your women. Don't let them stab you in the back. Live face to face and die with your chest open to the bullets and wide as the walls. I sing with a griever's voice, my people, for all your heroes. Your anxieties like mine, your setbacks, whose tears were drawn from the same metal as mine, suffering of the same metal. That's mettle. Your thinking in my brain, your courage in my blood, your anguish in my honors, all made of the same timber. To me, this life is like a rampart in front of emptiness. I am here in order to live as long as my soul is alive. And I'm here to die when that time comes, deep in the roots of the nation. And I will be and always have been. Life is a lot of hard gulps, but death is only one. Poems from Miguel Hernandez, who died in 1942 at the age of 32 in prison of tuberculosis. He had been given a life sentence for fighting in the revolution, but it was commuted to 30 years, and he served about three of them in that last prison term before he perished. Next week I'll return with another reading. I want you all to be safe, practice social distancing, wear your mask. I hope to meet you again on the other side of this pandemic. My name is Job for the City of Davis. Take care, everyone.